Hi there, I'm Lucy Macdonald, physiotherapist. Welcome back to my virtual clinic. Today I'm actually on holiday, but I wanted to join you just to give you some tips on how you can be training for your virtual marathon on the 4th of October 2020. It's so exciting to be part of the support of you guys and this absolutely historic marathon that's going to be incredible. I also want to give you a few tips for 2021 because I know that lots of you are running both this year and next year, which is super exciting, and I'm so impressed with everyone's positive attitudes, with how they've responded to the news of the changes with how the London Marathon is going to be this year. So, first of all, if this is the first time you are watching one of my videos, please do subscribe and check out. There's a whole running playlist. Now, if you're still watching this and you're not a runner, there are also other topics on things like knees, shoulders, backs. But yes, there's a special playlist for runners. So please do look at the other videos on here because it'll be really useful. The first one that I think would be brilliant for any of you is to watch my best exercises for runners. So please do watch that video first. I cover everything from strength conditioning to alignment stuff. So please do go on there and really do watch that video. But this video is more about kind of generally how do you train for a marathon in just over seven or 8 weeks. So the answer is it depends. So it very much depends on where you're at with your training. And I think what you need to do in this circumstance is just to think your number one goal has got to be not to get injured between now and the 4th of October. That's got to be your number one goal, right? So you need to try, number two is to try and build up a bit of resilience to running, in other words, fitness, between now and then, but that shouldn't be your number one focus. I think if that's your number one focus, you're very likely to get injured, over push yourself, overtrain, and then get injured. And if you get injured between now and then, you really don't have very much time to recover from that injury. So it's going to make the 4th of October pretty painful. So, and actually it might just rule it out. If you sustain a stress fracture at this stage, then it's going to be very, very difficult, nigh on impossible. I'm just trying to think of any stress fractures that would enable you to do a marathon, but there are very, very few, albeit perhaps you could with a few modifications. So on that note, we've got to remember that the 4th of October is a marathon, it's a marathon distance, but you can do it in whatever time you like. And one of the things I've been really enjoying recently is all the creative ideas that people have been having around making it into a massive giant pub crawl. Obviously, I don't recommend drinking alcohol and running, especially in the kind of temperatures we're getting at the moment. You'll get very dehydrated very quickly. But yeah, so there's lots of fun things that people are thinking of to make it something incredibly memorable, which I know it's going to be anyway. But yes, you've got 24 hours to complete it. So I would strongly recommend that unless you are really ahead of the game or really bang on track with your marathon training, I would recommend running it. And if you're really behind with your training, just walk it. Okay, so because it's so special, I don't think it's going to be the year that people are going to be saying, oh, how long did it take you to run? You know, what time did you do it? And it's not going to be that kind of year. It's going to be the kind of year where people are going to be sharing the stories about who they did it with and why they were doing it, what charity and how much money they raised for the charity. So the bigger picture. So I would really just chuck out any ideas of PBs or wanting to run the whole thing in a certain amount of time. I'd just chuck that out of the window and join your fellow runners, or your fellow teammates, as I should probably now call you, your fellow teammates in being a bit creative, supportive, and making it into a really fun event. So once you have established those sort of 3 principles, the next thing is what should you do over the next 7 weeks? Well, what you need to do is you need to establish, first of all, where your baseline of fitness is. So say, for example, you are running maybe, let's say, 10K twice a week and maybe a few more at the weekend. And that's where you've got to in your training. At that point, the most sensible thing to do is to increase by about 10% each week. That's the simplest way of doing it. Now, obviously, if you do that, you're not going to get much mileage under your belt before the marathon. But that is absolutely fine. The way that you will, but what you will do is, if you do it like that, you are going to really minimize your risk of injury, and therefore you'll be able to complete it on the 4th. You might not be able to be fast or do it in a certain time, but you will complete it. So that is the first thing that I'd recommend, is just build up wherever you're at in smaller increments. Now, obviously, you've all got your hands on marathon training programs. So if you're at the other end of the spectrum and you've made your way nicely through your marathon training program, then by all means stick to that and go for it. Well done. Now, the other thing to mention is what you should be doing the rest of the time. Now, there's a lot of focus in general in marathon training programs on, or maybe it's just that people look at those components more on the actual running bit. But the most important bits are actually on the recovery components. So on your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management. And again, I've made some videos. There's a video on my channel about how to manage your stress in order to ensure maximum recovery, and that's super important. And then nutrition. So with nutrition, most people know that they need a little bit more protein, a little bit more carbohydrate when they're training, because obviously your energy needs and your muscle requirements to regenerate cells that are predominantly made out of protein, it's greater. But what a lot of people forget is all those wonderful antioxidants, all the nutrients, so all the vitamins, the minerals. So your veggies, your fruit, your good fats, so oily fish, or if you're a vegan, vegetarian, then lots of lovely nuts and seeds. Frankly, whether you're vegan or vegetarian, lots of lovely nuts and seeds are really good anyway. So making sure you're getting your fruit, veg, good fats, and then protein, but also complex carbohydrates. So things like your brown rices, brown breads, that kind of thing, rather than the more processed sugary foods. So things like eating oats in the morning instead of, I don't know, a bowl of Cheerios or something like that. So think about those kind of things. Add a little bit of protein, a bit of a few nuts and seeds, and a bit of fruit for your breakfast. So you've got one of your 5 a day under your belt early on in the day. And then think throughout with each meal, how can I get some more veggies in this? How can I get all those different components that I've talked about? Now, the next one is all about sleep. So making sure you're getting good quality sleep. Now, something about sleep that I learned actually relatively recently, a few years ago, was all about the effect of alcohol on sleep, because you may or may not know that, well, obviously when you have a drink, you're more likely to fall asleep. You might feel relaxed and fall asleep, but then you are less likely to have good quality sleep. So I would actually recommend that you really cut back your alcohol over the next few weeks. And especially, I know it can be tempting during the summer because people are out and about, and especially now that lockdown's eased a bit and people are sort of having fun in the parks and things, but really try to cut that down, and anything that's sugary as well. So obvious things like cakes and sweets and chocolates and things, but also there's a lot of hidden sugar in processed food, in ready-made foods, that kind of thing. So it's just as much about what you shouldn't be putting into your body rather than what you should. So hopefully that's helpful, bit of stuff on nutrition. If you want any more support on any of those things, please do email me, Lucy@Octopus Clinic. I am on holiday at the moment, but I will get back to you as soon as I get back from holiday, I promise, okay? And if you don't hear back from me, the email might have gone into our junk box, so just drop us another email. And you can always get in touch with me through your charity or through our website, www.octopusclinic.com. I haven't got my big banner up today because it's back at home. So it's www.octopusclinic.com. And to contact me, Lucy at octopusclinic.com. So there we go, hopefully that's helpful. Okay, now last but not least, I wanted to talk a little bit about strength and conditioning, because I know that a lot of you have been asking about that. Now, the thing about strength and conditioning is that because you've only got 7.5, 8 weeks before the marathon, you can't actually do exercise that's going to make your muscles bigger and stronger. It takes at least 2 months of strength and conditioning training, takes at least 2 months before your muscles actually get significantly stronger, so more cells, bigger cells. But what you can do is you can activate your activate your muscles, so you can actually improve the neural element of it, so you can get them contracting more readily, and by that you can improve some strength in that way. So again, I've mentioned at the beginning about needing to watch the video that I showed you where I talk about squats, split squats, planking, calf raises, etc. But it's super, super important that you do them with the correct alignment. It's not what you do, it's how you do it that counts. So please watch the videos. Don't just go and try and knock off a load of split squats or lunges or planking or whatever, because you'll possibly injure yourself. And again, that is the one thing we really need to try and avoid between now and the 4th of October. So please do watch those videos, make sure you're getting the correct alignment, and listen to how your body responds. Now, if you are doing exercise to the point where for the next 2 days your muscles are feeling achy, or when you're doing your squats or your lunges, you're fatiguing at the end of them. So in other words, you do however many number with whatever weight on your body, and then at the end you really feel like you can't do another rep, then that's doing the strength and conditioning to fatigue. And if that's the case, you absolutely must leave 2 whole days between then and your next strength and conditioning workout. You can run or do other cross training in the middle, but you just need to leave 2 whole days for those particular muscle groups that you've trained to recover. That recovery process takes a full 72 hours, and actually you get maximum response from the muscle on the 2nd day, not the first day after you've been exercising. So that's why you might have noticed in the past that sometimes your muscles can feel more sore on the 2nd day after you've been exercising rather than the day after. So yeah, that's super important, because if you exercise earlier than that, so if you do strength and conditioning training one day to fatigue and then do it the day after that, then you're going to then be training on the day that your muscles will be recovering, and you'll therefore not make the muscles stronger, you'll actually make them weaker. And I've seen loads of people, not loads, I've seen a few people over the years who cannot work out why they're not getting stronger. And that's simply because, and they think, well, I keep doing more and more training, and I have to say, well, if you do a little bit less, you're going to get stronger, which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but then sure enough, they get stronger. So do please bear that in mind. You're also, obviously, if you're overtraining, more likely to get injured. Your body, what you want to be doing is creating this amazing process within your body. So not just in your muscles, but in your heart and your lungs as well, where you create a bit of micro trauma to the tissues. So a little bit of damage in the muscles, your heart, lungs, all over your body, your tendons, a little bit of damage. Then your body responds by creating some inflammation, which is the first stage of healing, even though it gets a bit of a bad reputation. So creating a little bit of inflammation, and then your body creates more cells, stronger cells to make your heart, lungs, muscles, joints, you name it, stronger and more resilient. So that's the process that you're aiming for. Now, the way to know if you're nailing that is to listen to what your body's doing from a pain perspective. If you're feeling discomfort around about 2 or 3 during or after exercise, then that's absolutely fine. So 10 being the worst pain imaginable, 0 being nothing, presuming that you don't have any conditions that prevent you from feeling pain, or and obviously make sure you're not on painkillers or anti-inflammatories. So if your pain is about 2 or 3 or less on that scale, and it lasts 2 or 3 hours, after exercise, then that's fine. And likewise, as I mentioned earlier, if it's about a 2 or 3 out of 10 for that 2 days post training session, then allow your body to heal through that time. Then you're getting it right. If it's higher than that, if the peak is higher than that, so if the intensity is more than about a 3 out of 10, and or it lasts, so it's consistent, and most importantly, if it's localized. So if you have localized pain, you really need to work out why it is that that bit of your body is creating, why that bit of your body is taking more load and therefore becoming more damaged. And that's my job as a physiotherapist. So please do get in touch with me. The sooner I can treat your injuries, the better. I can do it all by video link. So recently so over the last 4 months, I have been seeing all my patients on video. So I've been doing it on WhatsApp, FaceTime, you name it. And it's been working an absolute treat. In fact, 98% of people who had a session with us reported back that they would have more virtual physio, so more video-based video. So huge, that is a ridiculously high satisfaction rating, which I'm sure you'll agree. And if you want to see some anecdotes, there's loads of testimonials on our Facebook, so on the Octopus Clinic Facebook page, and also on our Google Maps. We've got tons and tons of testimonials. You'll see of people that are talking about how surprisingly effective, surprising for them, not so much for me, surprisingly effective virtual physio is. So please do get in touch, and I can see you. It's great because it means that geography is no limit. So please don't suffer in silence. So I hope that's been helpful. Please do let me know what you would like me to do a video on next. I did do a video, I'm always doing my Friday Q&A. I will do one this Friday. I wasn't going to because I'm on holiday, but I will do one on Friday at 10 a.m. I might be on the beach, but you know, there's no harm in that, I suppose, as long as you don't mind the waves in the background. So please do join me at 10 a.m. on Friday if you have any questions, or just drop me a note. Drop me a note at the bottom of this post and let me know what you would like me to talk about, what questions you have, how I can support you over the next few weeks. I know I mentioned that I was going to talk about training for the 2021 marathon, but I think maybe I will leave that to another video, so because we've got plenty of time for that one. So please do let me know. As I say, subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also please let me know what you would like me to do a video on next. And remember, don't overtrain. Take care. Bye.